Hey YouTube. So, Haves and Have Nots, Season 4, Episode 18, A Tragic Assumption. Now, let me begin by saying this episode was far from exciting and it was truly like a soap opera. Everything moves so freaking slow. Like, I thought I was going to lose it. I literally had to pause and come back and watch it again later. And I haven't had to do that all season. But anywho, so the episode starts off where it left off, where Jennifer, the DA, is coming into Catherine's house. So, of course, Hannah lets her in. It's this long, super drawn out scene about basically how Hannah doesn't want to bring Catherine downstairs. Jennifer is the last person that Catherine is going to want to see. And Jennifer says, trust me, she's going to want to know this. Hannah tries to get her to tell her or give her a hint as to what's going on. Jennifer won't tell her anything. I'm like, look, just tell her it's confidential information and you need to tell Catherine face to face instead of doing this whole long drawn out back to back. But whatever the case, Hannah decides to go upstairs and get Catherine. Catherine is bothered because Jennifer is down there. So, of course, Catherine goes down the stairs with an attitude. And then Jennifer finally gets around to telling her, hey, our bad, Wyatt's alive. And she's like, what? She said, yes, he's in the hospital right now. And she said, you know what? Well, you were the one responsible for killing him anyway. Why'd you give him access to all of that money? And then Jennifer says, that's beside the point. Your son's in the hospital. You're welcome to go see him. I don't quite know how he's doing, but they were able to find a pulse or something and he's alive. So don't trip. Whatever. So then she leaves. Jennifer leaves. Catherine and Hannah are going back and forth because Catherine is like, I don't want to go down there. Hannah said, well, that's your son. And Catherine, at this point, she's being realistic. Like, okay, he OD'd. I don't know if he's going to survive or not. And the last time I see him, I don't want my memories to be of him lying in a hospital bed. So, no, I can't do it. Can you do it for me? And so Hannah, at first she's like, oh, I knew you was going to ask that. No, I don't want to do it. And Catherine is like, please do it for me. You even said yourself that I shouldn't see Amanda when she was like in her last state of being. And so I just can't do it with Wyatt either. Okay, so of course Hannah agrees to go down to the hospital. Okay. So skipping through some things, staying on Hannah, she goes to the hospital and David Harrington is there. So David is there for Jim and Hannah is there for Catherine. And Wyatt is just like, he looks like he's in a peaceful sleep, slumber, should I say. So then Hannah says, the doctor comes in because they ran some tests or something, and the doctor comes in with the results. And Hannah asked if Wyatt was in a coma because that's what Benny looked like when he was in a coma. And the doctor said, yes, actually we had put him into a medically induced coma, but he's good now. He's breathing on his own. Honestly, he had cocaine, opiates, methamphetamines, whatever, and alcohol, all these different types of things in his system. So then Hannah says, well, man, he was trying to kill himself. And the doctor said, well, there's other ways. And I'm thinking that was so unnecessary. But anyways, so then all of a sudden, the doctor is like, I think he'll be fine. We'll have to watch him for a while. We had to put him in that medically induced coma because he kept having seizures, and that was the only way we were going to calm it down. So we're going to watch him for the next 48 hours to make sure, his brain activity is normal and he's not going to continue having these seizures because he had too many drugs in his body. Okay, so of course Hannah's like, I'm going to go relay the information to Catherine, and David is like, I'll go relay the information to Jim. Of course, as David is walking out of the hospital, he hears a lady like yelling at a doctor, and of course it is Veronica. Veronica is arguing with the doctor because he's showing her an x-ray and he keeps starting his sentence with, ma'am, your implants, and she's like, I don't have implants. And he's like, bro, I got a picture right here. She's like, give me the picture. I don't have implants. So, of course, David steps inside and she's like, hey, can we have a minute? That's my husband. And the doctor's like, look, you got that you have anesthesia right now. When the anesthesia wears off, you're gonna be in pain. Like they have to do stitches or something. And so David, well, Veronica says, you know what? I don't care. Like, pain is my middle name, honey. So then she sits there, she talks to David, and they go back and forth about this whole thing with Jeffrey. So basically, she says, I can't believe it. Your son, Jeffrey, stabbed me. And I feel like David really wanted to like smile or be like, man, I'm proud of him. It's about time. But instead he says, Bobby something, some last name. And she said, come again? And he said, remember, Bobby. Remember, Jeffrey got bullied, I believe, from the age of 4 to 11. The teachers, the principals, everybody around them were telling the parents that Jeffrey was being bullied by Bobby. Well, every time they would ask Jeffrey, Jeffrey would say, no, I'm good. Nothing's going on. And then finally, one day when he was 11, Bobby was bullying him once again. And after taking it and holding it in and acting like everything's okay for years, Jeffrey snapped. And he beat him with a baseball bat. He beat him into a coma. And he said, so basically, Veronica, I said all this to say, I can't believe, one, I can't believe you don't remember that story. And two, you are just another Bobby. You are just another bully. You've been doing this to him for years. Did you not expect for him to snap? And that is what has happened. So with that being said, the doctor's going to come back in here. You need to tell him that you have implants just so that you can save your life so the toxins don't get into your body. And then he says, better yet, don't tell him. Like, better yet, you can die for all I care. So then Veronica is speechless, which is really odd because she's never speechless. Okay, anyway, so now let's go to another storyline, which would be Erica. So, of course, Erica is Candace's, like, scheming con friend. So, Erica is at a restaurant waiting for one of her marks to come in, an older guy that's, like, super rich. Okay, so as she's sitting there, she calls Candace to get a description of what Oscar looks like and then informs Candace that Oscar is in fact in town and he is here, the man who has stolen your money. So Candace says, well, can you try to figure out a way to get him to stay? So, of course, Erica goes up to the bar to talk to Oscar to try to kind of flirt with him a little. He is on a date, clearly, but Erica doesn't care. She asks him, are you around here? Hey, would you like to go out sometime? And he says, no. She says, why not? He said, because I'm here with a date. She's like, okay. And this girl was not saying anything. And I would have been like, girl, we are in the middle of the day. You are a date. You are rude and disrespectful. And I would have been upset with Oscar for even welcoming this conversation with Erica. But whatever the case, Erica goes, sits down. She's on her date. Candace calls her to see if Oscar is leaving. Erica is like basically speaking in code on the phone. And she's like, yes, he's leaving, but there may be something I can do about it. Let me check my car. She asks her date if it's okay. So, of course, she goes outside. They have valet parking at this restaurant. So Erica goes up to like the valet parking guy. He's younger. Of course, she's like all dressed up on a date. She has like her chest out and everything. So she knows that she can be seductive. She can use what she has to get what she wants. So she goes and she has like a phone and she says, can that guy over there, don't make it obvious, can you take this phone and slip it under his seat so that he's not able to see it? And I need you to do it. And she gives him money. Okay, anywho, so now let's go back to Candace. So Candace is now en route to her house because she knows that Jeffrey and Justin, the police officer, are in her backyard. For what reason, she doesn't know. She's only expecting the worst. So she goes there. Luckily, she finds out through conversation that no, Justin, the police officer, doesn't know what's going on. In fact, they are standing in the backyard because Jeffrey has snitched on himself, saying that he stabbed his mother, and they just get better reception outside because Justin is trying to find out, is Jeffrey's mother dead? Is she in the hospital? Has she put out a warrant for his arrest. Okay, so, or filed press charges, should I say. Okay, so that hasn't happened at this point, and they're just waiting for that. Meanwhile, Candace is very uncomfortable with Jeffrey having Justin, the police officer, there. Okay, so she goes inside to call Benny to update him on what's going on, since, of course, Benny was the one that buried Quincy's body. She informs him that they don't know all the specifics and details as to what's going on. Benny freaks out. He tries to get her to leave. She won't, so he is on his way over there. Okay, so meanwhile, Jeffrey comes inside. Candace talks to him and says, "You need to get this police officer out of here. I don't know why you trust him." And Jeffrey said, "Well, you're the one that told me to get close to him, find out what I can about him." And Candace says, "So do you know any of his weaknesses? Anything you can use against him?" And he says, "Yeah, I know a few." Okay, so, and he knows a big one, of course, and with his wife being a judge, she doesn't want to find out her husband is down low. Okay, so anyways, Justin comes inside and says, "Hey, your mom's in the ambulance. Nothing's really wrong with her. She's in the front seat. She's on her way to the hospital." So Jeffrey says, "I want Justin to stay. I'm going through so much with the death of Wyatt." So, and Candace says, "No, he can't stay." And Jeffrey said, "Well, he's my friend." So Justin is playing Jeffrey off like, "No, we're not friends. I'm a police officer. Don't get it twisted." Basically, you're the side piece, okay? Nobody has to know of our relations. Nobody, okay? Not even your friend Candace. So Justin leaves. Benny shows up. And at this point, Jeffrey is upstairs and he's laying down or sleeping or something. Benny, of course, is trying to get to Jeffrey because he wants to, bribe him some type of way to tell his dad to fix the phone lines at the tow yard. So when Benny comes inside, he's talking to Candace, telling her, and she's informing him that everything's all good. Next thing you know, Erica comes inside. And, of course, there's a familiar face. Benny and Erica have seen each other before when Erica kind of conned Benny. So then all of a sudden, Erica says, "Hey, Candace, we got business to take care of with this GPS. We have to go." So Benny leaves with them, of course. Leaves. So they all get in their car and drive off. And then Benny drives back, comes, knocks on the door. Jeffrey's stupid self lets him in. And then Benny tries to blackmail Jeffrey by saying, "You need to call your dad and you need to tell him to stop messing with me and fix my phone lines, or else I'm telling him that his son is gay." And I'm thinking, that's all you got? You never thought for a second in your mind that his dad might already know that he's gay? And I feel like that's not your place to tell him anyway. But of course, if you're blackmailing someone, you're not going to play fair. So whatever the case, David starts calling at the right time. He picks up the phone. Jeffrey won't tell him what his mom is holding against him. But he says, "I do have Benny here." And Benny said that you need to fix his phone lines or else he's going to tell you that I'm gay. So Benny is lost. What? Why would you tell on yourself? Benny, you're just stupid. You're always a half a step behind, okay? You think you have one up on him, but you really don't. So then David says, "What? He's messing with you? Put him on the phone." So he says, "Don't mess with my kid. Meet me at the tow yard in 3 hours." So Benny is like, "Bet, I'll be there." Okay, so, and meanwhile, Jeffrey is trying to stay away from his crazy mother. Okay, now moving on to the very important part of the show, which would be Candace and Erica. They are staking out Oscar's car. They have followed the GPS, and it is outside of the campaign office. And so they know that Oscar doesn't know Jim Pryor, so they're trying to figure out who is he here to meet. Okay, meanwhile, Mitch pops up at the window and says, "Candace, what are you doing here?" She said, "What are you doing here?" All this back and forth. He says, "Well, I'm here because David Harrington is messing with our phone lines, all because your brother slept with Veronica, his wife." Candace didn't know that information, so she's like, "Oh gosh, are you serious?" Okay, well, then Mitch says, "Well, did you hear what happened to Ward?" She said, "What happened to Ward?" He said, "Yeah, he mysteriously got busted. He had drugs in a tire in his trunk, and they found $2 million on him." Bam, baby. So then Candace is like, "Are you stupid? He's gonna kill me. Why would you do this? I told you don't get involved." So, whatever the case, at the same time, it takes us back to the jail, and War is just put into jail. He looks over next to him and sees Jim Pryor in the cell, and he's like, "We meet again." Okay, so remember, he helped Candace lock up Jim Pryor. So, of course, Jim is going to reveal the information to War that Candace actually got $7.4 million from him, not $4 million. So, War is about to be pissed off to the highest level of festivity, and Candace is a goner. So, we shall see how this goes. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out at mrsblogaholic.com. Bye.